keep a mandarin goby, it's really important that you have cultures of copepods. Now, because we've just done a clean out of this tank, it is more than likely that we've severely impacted the cultures of copepods. So at Majestic Aquariums, we do sell copepods. So I would highly recommend to stock up this tank with copepods and to make sure this guy's got something to eat. Because all in all, this guy's been doing really well. How long have you had him?
I reckon about 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah, and he doesn't look skinny.
No. He was small when I bought.
Yeah, he doesn't look skinny, so you're doing really well with him. But live copepods, putting them in regularly, that's the key. But there's so many other advantages the live copepods do too. I also noticed that your tank didn't really have dinoflagellate algae or dinoflagellates. And a lot of species of copepod actually eat the dinoflagellate. So that's another advantage for having good cultures of copepods. They're just wonderful scavengers and they feed your fish. It's like a win-win. If you're getting green algae, then that tends to be a result of phosphate. But phosphate's a bit of a tricky one because phosphate is available in an aquarium in various forms: inorganic, organic, calcium diphosphate. And a lot of the different types of phosphates actually can't really be tested by a test kit. So that's something that is great for tricking you. So pursuing phosphate control and doing more regular water changes and making sure that you're only feeding high quality foods, particularly something like New Life Spectrum's probiotics. You want to be taking precautions to lower your phosphate if you're seeing green algae, because the test kits aren't going to show up all level of phosphate. Even the rock. So calcium diphosphate actually fuses into the rock. And that's a good and a bad thing. Because what happens is when your aquarium is relatively new, it acts like a buffer. So what happens is the phosphates slowly build into the rock, which gives yourself a little bit of a buffer. But then once it's full of phosphates, then it slowly leaches out of the rock again. So that's a good and a bad thing. So you just need to be very patient with any of your phosphate control because it doesn't necessarily work straight away. And there are some products now that make sure that you don't have zero phosphate. I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head, but there are products that make sure that your phosphate level is not zero because you're not actually aiming for zero. But at the same time, if you are getting green algae, it's probably not zero anyway. The other thing about green algae is it can suck up all your phosphates, but then as it starves and as it dies, it releases the phosphate back into the water to feed the other algae. So fixing phosphate is a very slow process, but you just got to stick with it because you will fix it. And then it's also a slow process for it to go bad. So fixing phosphate is a slow ship to steer. So it tends to go bad slowly and it tends to fix slowly. But it is what it is. We started putting everything back into the reef again. So you can see what I'm trying to do here is get as much off the substrate as possible. I'm trying to minimize contact with the substrate. And then I'm trying to create some nice shelves where the corals can go on. And I'm trying to separate all the corals so they don't sting each other. But you have to be constantly watching them, because when you're doing a job like this, you're not really sure where or what anything is. So as everything starts to open up, you need to sort of be on guard to start moving things to make sure they're in the best position, and most of all, make sure that nothing's stinging each other. Anyway, so far so good. The other thing is that be really conscious of the color of your rock. So what we're wanting is this good coralline. So there's some very good coralline here, and that's really what we're wanting to proliferate. So having nice high calcium, carbonate, magnesium, and pH is what we really need to grow that coralline. And then trying to limit our nitrate and phosphate, but make sure it's not zero. And also the introduction of copepods is something we've discussed a bit today, because this tank has actually never had an outbreak of dino, which is that terrible brown algae that you grow. It's not really an algae, but your dino. And because this tank's got a mandarin in it, it's always been getting regular introductions of live copepods. And your copepods are a really great way of controlling dino as well. So it's a real win-win because the copepods help to eat your dino, and the copepods breed, and the copepods help to scavenge in the aquarium, and the copepods provide a food source for your fish like mandarins. So it really is a desirable situation. Just that copepods are rarely available in a lot of areas. So where you can get them, you want to really get them. Never ever want is this flat surface. Because if you've got a flat surface, you're not going to get proper gas exchange. So you will need to be positioning your pumps and so forth to make sure that you're getting agitation. It needs to be getting broken. Obviously not necessarily as severely as that, but we really want it. Got some beautiful agitation now. So the fish are acclimatized back into the aquarium again. All the corals are back in. So we've got to keep a real eye on these corals as they open up. Give the tank a day or so without the light on to let everyone settle in. Let the corals slowly open up again. We've got the heater back on, so that's going to slowly raise the temperature, which is almost 22 degrees now. We really want that back to more like 24 for us to be happy. Everyone's doing what we expect. So now regular water tests and regular monitoring is really what the tank wants now. So a good day without light. And we have not put the extra rock in. Just because you got it doesn't mean you want to use it. Don't want to forget this fella. There you go, buddy. Go back to you, mate.